Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The chill of the air conditioning strikes me as soon as I step into the sleek lobby of Westerfield and Partners, but it's the cold suspicion gnawing at my gut that really makes me shiver. It's an impromptu visit, a surprise for Jenna on our 5th anniversary, but as I approach her department, I can't shake the feeling that I'm the one about to be surprised. The glass doors to her office are slightly ajar, a murmur of voices spilling into the quiet hallway. My hand hesitates on the polished handle, the sounds of her laughter tugging me forward. It's a laugh I haven't heard at home in months, light and carefree. I nudge the door wider, my breath catching at the sight before me. Jenna is perched on the edge of her desk, radiant in her sleek work attire. But it's not her smile that freezes me, it's the hand of her supervisor, Mark, tracing a path down her leg, creeping higher with an intimate familiarity. The other hand, emboldened, begins to pull at the hem of her blouse. She doesn't stop him, instead, her eyes sparkle with a fire that once burned for me. I should clear my throat, stomp, shout, anything to shatter the moment. Instead, I stand transfixed, the foundation of our life together crumbling silently around me. Mark's laugh, a deep chuckle, breaks their intimate tableau as he notices me in the doorway. "Ah, the elusive Mr. Harper," he says, straightening up but with a smirk that doesn't reach his eyes. Jenna whirls around, her face draining of color, her eyes wide not with guilt, but fear. "Chris," she gasps, a hand flying to her chest. "What are you? How long have you been standing there?" I can't find my voice. Instead, I step back, letting the door swing shut with a soft click that echoes loudly in the suddenly heavy silence. My heart races as I stride away, each step fueled by a surge of adrenaline and a sense of betrayal so acute it feels like I'm wading through a nightmare. I don't look back, even as I hear Jenna calling after me, her heels clicking frantically against the floor. The lobby feels colder now, or maybe that's just the void where my trust used to reside. Back in the solitude of my car, the shock wears off, giving way to a cold, seething anger. The image of them together, her laughter, his hands, her eyes alight, burns hot in my mind. This isn't just a fleeting lapse, it's a betrayal, deep and wounding. I drive home in a haze, my thoughts a whirlwind of hurt and vengeance. By the time I pull into the driveway of our once happy home, my decision is clear. This is not just about a broken heart, it's about reclaiming my life. I spend the night in the spare room, ignoring Jenna's soft knocks and pleading voice through the door. My resolve hardens with every whispered apology that slips under the crack. The next day, while Jenna is at work, no doubt a scene of confusion and whispered rumors, I pack her belongings. It feels mechanical, each fold of her clothes a turn of the knife in my back. When she returns, her key turns in the lock to a home that no longer welcomes her. Her bags are by the door, her eyes meeting mine with a mix of remorse and defiance. "Chris, please, we can talk about this." "There's nothing left to discuss," I interrupt, my voice steady even as it threatens to break. "It's over, Jenna." And with that, I closed the door on her, on us, and on the life I thought we were building together. The road ahead is uncertain and shadowed by the pain of betrayal, but one thing is clear, I will not look back. The sun is just beginning to set, casting long shadows across the city as I sit in the dim light of the old town bar, nursing a whiskey I don't really taste. My thoughts are interrupted by the sound of the seat beside me scraping against the floor. "Chris Harper." The voice is deep, tinged with a rough familiarity. I turn, eyeing the newcomer warily. He's about my age, maybe older, with a weathered face and sharp eyes that seem to miss nothing. "Who's asking?" "Name's Tom Brennan," he says, extending a hand that looks every bit as hardened as his gaze. "Heard about your situation. Thought you might need a friend." Wary, I shake his hand. "And why would you think that?" Tom orders a bourbon from the bartender before answering, his eyes never leaving mine. "Let's just say I've been where you are." Also had a wife who thought the grass was greener elsewhere. The bartender slides Tom's drink toward him, and he takes a slow sip, his gaze thoughtful. I'm not here to offer pity, Harper. I'm here because what happens to guys like us, it's not just personal. It's a symptom of a bigger problem in this town. Intrigued despite myself, I lean in. What are you talking about? Corruption, my friend. It runs deeper than unhappy marriages. It's in the businesses, the politics, the whole damn system. He pauses, eyes narrowing slightly. Mark, the guy you caught with your wife, he's a big part of it. I stiffen, memories of that afternoon flashing vividly before my eyes. What do you mean? Tom glances around the bar before continuing. Mark's involved in more than just seducing wives. He's a key player in a ring of corporate espionage, stealing ideas, blackmailing competitors. And he uses his conquests to further his agenda. The revelation hits me like a punch to the gut. Anger, already simmering, begins to boil. And you know this how? I was a victim, too. Lost my company because I refused to play his game. Tom's face hardens. But I'm putting together a plan. With someone on the inside, someone like you, we could expose him. Take down the whole network. I'm skeptical. Why should I trust you? For all I know, you could be using me to get back at him for something else. Tom nods, as if he expected this. Fair enough. But I've got proof. Meet me here tomorrow night. I'll show you everything. Then decide if you want in. He stands, dropping a few bills on the bar. Think about it, Chris. It's not just about revenge. It's about justice, for both of us. As he leaves, the weight of his proposal sinks in. My life has already been turned upside down, and now I'm being invited into a plot that sounds like it could either set things right or pull me further into chaos. I take a deep breath, the cool burn of the whiskey settling into a resolve. Perhaps it's not just my own peace I could win back, but something much larger. But can I take that step? Can I trust a stranger with my shattered life? As the last light of day disappears, replaced by the neon glow of the bar sign, I realize I've already begun to make my choice. The bar is quieter tonight, the usual chatter subdued as if the walls themselves anticipate what's coming. I find Tom already there, a manila folder thick with papers in front of him as he sips his drink. He nods at me as I approach, his expression serious. Decided then? He asks as I take the seat next to him. I nod, my resolve firm. I'm in. But I want to see what you've got first. Tom slides the folder across to me. Fair enough. I open it, and for the next hour, Tom narrates a saga of deceit deeper than I could have imagined. Emails, photos, and documents lay bare a network of corruption linked not just to Mark but to several high-profile figures in the city. It's meticulous and damning. This is a lot, I mutter, absorbing the scope of Mark's influence. Yeah, and we're just scratching the surface. Tom takes a deep breath. We need more, though. Something irrefutable. And how do you propose we get that? I ask, skeptical yet intrigued. That's where you come in. Tom leans in, lowering his voice. Mark trusts you, at least enough to not suspect you immediately. We need someone on the inside to gather more evidence. Recordings, documents, anything that proves what he's doing. The risk of the task sends a chill down my spine, but the thought of exposing Mark, of reclaiming some control, fuels a fire within me. What's the plan? We need to get you back in there, maybe as a consultant. You were in marketing, right? Say you're doing a competitive analysis or some such. And just walk back into the lion's den. I raise an eyebrow. It's risky. Tom nods. It is. But with high risk comes high reward. You expose Mark, you get your life back, and help a lot of others in the process. We spend the next hour hashing out the details. Tom has connections who can forge the necessary credentials to get me back into Westerfield and Partners under the guise of a contractor. I leave the bar with a spy pen camera, a burner phone, and a simmering sense of purpose. The next day, I walk into Westerfield and Partners, my heart pounding but my face calm. The receptionist greets me with a puzzled frown but waves me through after checking the visitor log. I'm in. Mark's office is on the 5th floor. I take deliberate steps, each one a beat in the tense rhythm of my undercover return. When I reach his door, I knock firmly. "Come in," comes the familiar voice, smooth as ever. Mark looks up, surprise registering on his face as he sees me. "Chris. What a surprise. What brings you back here?" I force a smile, my hand gripping the spy pen in my pocket. "Just some unfinished business, Mark. Thought it might be mutually beneficial to discuss some things." His eyes narrow for a moment, but then he gestures to a chair. "Of course, have a seat." As we talk, I steer the conversation towards his business dealings, my pen camera rolling silently. Mark, perhaps overconfident or merely unsuspecting, begins to boast about a recent acquisition, a term I've come to understand as not entirely legal. Every word he says, every document he carelessly shows me, is recorded, each one a step closer to his downfall. And as I play my part, a part of me can't help but feel the thrill of the hunt. This isn't just about my revenge anymore, it's about justice. And I'm right at the heart of the storm. The conference room buzzes with the hum of anxious energy as I enter, Tom at my side, both of us laden with the fruits of our risky endeavor. The gathered faces are a mix of city officials and senior partners from Westerfield and Partners, all summoned under the guise of addressing an urgent compliance issue. At the head of the table sits Mark, his confident smile faltering as his eyes meet mine. "Chris, Tom, what's this about?" Mark's voice carries a veneer of calm that doesn't quite reach his eyes. Tom places a thick stack of documents on the table with a thud that echoes slightly in the tense silence. "It's about justice, Mark. About the truth coming to light." Mark laughs, a short, sharp sound. "What truth are you two fantasizing about today?" I step forward, my voice steady. "The truth about your illegal activities, Mark. Corporate espionage, bribery, blackmail." I turn to the assembled group. "We have proof of everything." Mark's smirk fades as I connect my laptop to the projector and start displaying emails, recorded conversations, and incriminating photos. The room grows colder with every slide, the faces of the officials and partners turning from skepticism to horror. "This is absurd." Mark finally bursts out, standing so abruptly his chair tips over. "These could be forged. Chris is just a scorned husband out for revenge." I nod, expecting this. "Which is why we ensured all evidence was independently verified by a third-party forensic analyst." I gesture to a woman at the back of the room who steps forward, her expression grim. "As you can see," she begins, "the digital signatures and metadata corroborate the authenticity of these documents." The room erupts into murmurs, the air thick with tension and betrayal. Mark's face is pale, his usual composure shattered as he looks around the room, finding no allies. "Why, Mark?" I ask, the weight of all the lies heavy in my voice. "Why involve Jenna? Why ruin lives?" Mark's eyes flash with a mix of defiance and defeat. "This business is about survival, Chris. You wouldn't understand." "But I do understand, Mark," I retort. "Better than you think. And surviving doesn't require destroying others." Tom steps beside me, his face hard. "It's over, Mark. You're done." Security enters the room, their presence signaling the end. As they escort Mark out, his eyes meet mine, filled with a venomous resignation. After the room clears, leaving only debris of the shattered professional lives, Tom claps me on the shoulder. "You did good, Chris. Took guts." As I pack up my laptop, the door opens again. It's Jenna, her appearance startling me. Her eyes are red, her usual composed demeanor gone. "Chris, I heard about what happened. I came to." She trails off, the words catching. "To what, Jenna?" "To see if I'd fail." My voice is colder than I intend. "To apologize," she whispers. "For everything. I never knew about the corruption, I swear. But that's no excuse. I'm so sorry for hurting you." I look at her, really look, seeing the regret and the pain that mirrors my own. "I know," I say, and I realize I do believe her. "But it changes nothing between us." She nods, tears spilling over. "I know. I just hoped." We part then, forever linked by our shared history but separated by the chasms of betrayal. As I walk away, I feel the weight of the past lifting, the future uncertain but unfettered. In exposing Mark's deception, I've reclaimed a part of myself, but the cost was high. Trust, once broken, is not easily mended. Outside, the city seems different, as if it too has shed a layer of grime. I'm alone, but for the first time in a long while, the solitude feels like freedom rather than exile.